Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
Umar IFL TV, joined by Gareth A Davies, who's just interviewed the Nordic Nightmare.
Valhalla! Valhalla or bust, as the Viking told me.
Sorry, what are you on about?
Come on, it's where the Vikings go, isn't it? Heaven and hell, Valhalla.
Okay.
Great character, really up for it. Congratulations to both men for taking the fight on short notice. They're both up for it. Helenius is envisioning a knockout. He's got to. He was always going to say that.
Can he cause Joshua any problems on Saturday?
Yeah, of course he can. But he's 39. He's at the very tail end of his career. He's, suffered a bad loss against Deontay Wilder, overcommitted in that fight. Joshua's got to make it his fight, and he's got to command early and stay on top. They've sparred each other before, but it was a different version of Joshua 6 years ago, and probably a different version of Helenius as well.
Spencer, I know you've got to interview Eddie and Joshua. Keep you for 30 seconds. Jump in quickly.
Just jump over this side. Oh, no, I won't go this side. Sorry.
Right. Two members of TalkSport. Who won yesterday?
It was a good little battle, to be fair. I thought there was two massive egos on the line, and it was clanging a lot, so you couldn't really... They were both trying to get their points across. Listen, could be 1-1. We could be in for the rubber match. It could be a trilogy. But yeah, it was interesting, to say the least. Listen, it's entertainment, man, and that's what it's all about. It's about bringing eyeballs to the sport, about bringing ears to the sport, and they both achieved that.
Well, there was some... The trouble is, they never got to the end of about 4 different arguments.
I've got to go.
Cheers, Spencer. I think it's 1-1 as well. Actually, it might be... I did say on air it was 1-1 to TalkSport, because I wanted them to have the trilogy, the decider. But I thought... Simon, and best wishes to Simon with his prostate cancer.
Absolutely.
I've got to say that.
Definitely.
Because, much as I've had my own verbal battles with Simon, I do wish him well with his health, absolutely, from the bottom of my heart. But I think yesterday, I think he was very aggressive again with Eddie. And they clearly rub each other up the wrong way. I think Eddie wasn't allowed to finish his arguments. Simon had some bones to pick with him and just wouldn't let go of it. I thought Eddie was very good yesterday. Very, very good.
Main event press conference wasn't that eventful, respectful as we had imagined.
Well, Derek Chisora in his Five Guys gear absolutely owned it. Have a look at that outfit. A fantastic Five Guys gear. Five Guys sliders, Five Guys bottom and top, Five Guys, what do you call it? Sun hat? What do you call them?
Bucket hat.
Bucket hat. Do you turn it upside down for your chips then? For your fries?
What, and then put it back on your head?
Well, no, definitely don't put it back on your head. But no, Derek value as always.
Well, he was giving it to Eddie Hearn, wasn't he?
Giving it to Eddie Hearn. Look, absolute value. And
did he have a strong case about what he was saying towards the end, which was a more serious matter about PEDs in the sport?
Listen, it's a really, really important issue. How we get around finding the right solution for it going forwards is very important for boxing. I don't think we bringing up the question of a world's governing body and how they could be above it all and be over it and have them have the auspices of the sport.
Like a FIFA?
Like a FIFA, like a World Tennis Authority. But the problem is it's so fractured. But it's raised its ugly head again. Thank God there is a testing process. It's an inherently dangerous sport. There are catastrophic events in the ring for fighters sometimes, so there has to be a drug testing system. And it's just brought it into focus. The reason why I'm hesitant is because we still don't know the substance that the analytical finding found adverse in Dillian Whyte's body, and he hasn't had a chance to mount his defence on any of that yet, so I don't want to speculate. But it's a serious issue in boxing. But as Eddie Hearn points out, and as he's pointed out before, and as many promoters have pointed out before, there is difficulty in testing everyone because it's so expensive, and that's the issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the answer to that at this point. It's a very difficult situation.
It's not easily solvable.
No, definitely not. What else has been going on today, Gareth? Just talk me through your day.
Just busy doing a lot of interviews, doing a piece on how a fighter prepares with 6 days to go, how Anthony Joshua's mindset is at the moment, looking into what Helenius' story is. Fascinating that he found out in the dressing room in the Schloss on Saturday night in the castle, that it was, and that took him 10 minutes to decide. Anthony Joshua's entering the third phase of his career. I think he's very contained. I think he clearly wanted to fight. He's really up for it. Both men are up for it. There are risks involved with Helenius. Having been around Helenius today, he clearly fancies the job, sees it as the golden ticket, he told me, for TalkSport. And I'm just glad the event's on. It had a big event feel about it today. It was a busy press conference, and I'm expecting a really good night on Saturday night. There's 4 heavyweight fights on the card. You know, there'll be some knockouts, there'll be some big punches thrown. Campbell Hatton, Maisie Rose, all these fighters, Johnny Fisher, all these young fighters would be delighted that Anthony Joshua and Robert Helenius, who's standing to my left, have chosen to fight on Saturday night, and that it's going ahead.
If only Deontay Wilder could come to the O2.
It'd be great if he's there.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suspect Deontay Wilder's going to have a fight before January next year. He ought to.
I spoke to Malik Scott about this today, and he clearly said Andy Ruiz is
Malik's
outpricing
here with
himself.
Gerald, yeah?
Yeah, he said that Andy Ruiz is outpricing himself, so that's off the table. He said that he would preferably want Deontay.
What did he say the price is?
He didn't name the price. But
Because
it's interesting
because the Warrens and Fury have said that he outpriced himself.
Eddie said that, you know, for a late replacement, Andy was outpricing himself. They didn't really even get far. So all the camps are saying Andy's outpricing himself. So we've got to
Agit Kabayel apparently outpriced himself as well, because he was in the reckoning, as was Washington, who I spoke to earlier, told me he was in the running.
Yeah.
He was in the running to fight Joshua. But I think they've come up with the right opponent in Robert.
But in terms of Deontay, Malik Scott said he does want him to have a run out, but if they have to go straight into a fight with Joshua in January, he's very confident. He said, "What are you doing?" Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you the mic back.
Yeah.
Once you wipe your glasses. But he said he said the fight doesn't go past 3 rounds.
Deontay Wilder's always in shape. He never goes a bean over 16-7 or whatever he is, 16-8. Apart from that one fight where he was too heavy for Fury, the second fight, far too heavy. And, you know, his style never changes. It's the same thing. He detonates. As the big fella knows, he overcommitted in that fight. It's going to be a very interesting night on Saturday night. I haven't heard a lot of moaning and complaining from the haters, actually, online about the fight still going ahead. Are you hearing the same?
What, in terms of?
The event going ahead. DAZN have made it a non-pay-per-view, which is good. I mean, I said this to your colleague Pugsy earlier on.
You've changed his name?
Joe Pugh. Why, what was he before?
Well, you used to call him something else before.
What did I used to call him? I can't remember. Porky. Yeah. Well, as I said, he's got the same build as Andy Ruiz, but a slimmed down Andy Ruiz. Look, the event's going ahead. It's not pay-per-view. You know, Anthony Joshua's taken a pay cut. Everyone's worked to make this event happen, so it's really good, I would say, for the industry that it's going ahead, and particularly for all the other fighters on the card.
Can you sign us out?
Valhalla with the Viking!
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.